of the registry. The tier 3 training, those are the evidence-based practice. So we do offer training at no charge in acceptance and commitment therapy, prolonged exposure therapy, written prolonged exposure therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, cognitive processing therapy, and lots of other options. And then there are what we call tier S trainings. Tier S are what we call our sustainment trainings. And those are kind of 90-minute shorter trainings that we offer quite a bit. And this is a national program. So it's organized and it's coordinated from Purdue University, but it is active all over the nation. By October, it will be available in all the states and territories wherever there is a military base. And that is through a partnership with the Center for Deployment Psychology, which we'll talk a little bit about. So we talked about those tier S sustainment trainings, and these are just some examples of those sustainment short trainings. So any of the issues that are particular to the military connected population, like we said, moral injury, intimate partner violence, intervention for treating infidelity, circadian rhythm, sleep-wake disorders, which are pretty common among the military. We're currently writing some more intensive trainings on stimulant use disorder. Again, that is common among the military because it becomes part of the job to be able to stay awake and perform their duties, and integrating back to everyday life. That can be a problem. It can also be a problem during their service. So we're currently working with the Department of Mental Health and Addictions, as well as SAMHSA, to create the trainings about stimulant use disorder and why it's so prevalent, as well as assessing stimulant use disorder because of the high level of comorbidities, and then also treating stimulant use disorder. And all of those trainings are offered free of charge. And then we have the registry. So currently in our registry, there are about 1,600 providers across the nation that belong to the registry. We've trained about 13,000 people over the course of the last 10 to 12 years, and all the way up through 4,000 people through the tier 3 training. You'll find in a lot of the community mental health centers, especially here in Indiana, there is at least one person in every single clinic location who has been trained. So this kind of gives you an idea on the heat map where we're most active. So obviously we see a lot of that in Indianapolis, and then up in that just at the bottom of Lake Michigan, in that Lake County area, we have a very high contingency of folks that are really active in the program. We also have what we call our designation system. And this is kind of outside of those 3 objectives we talked about earlier, but this is a part of that, the connect and serve, in that we offer designation for community mental health centers who want to really enhance their military work within their facilities. So you can go through a process to become an SBHP designated facility, and you can become a 1, 2, 3, or 4-star designated. And it's very similar to going through any other accreditation, though we're pretty easy and painless compared to others. But we look at the percentage of your staff who have been through training. We look at how many tiers they have been through. And again, we want at every single location for there to be someone who is competent in military culture, and somebody who has that specialty who could kind of serve as the advocate from that mental health provider perspective for that military connected client or family member. One of the things that we also offer to non-clinicians is an on-demand course through Purdue Global on military culture. So a lot of the CMHCs have now built that course into their onboarding system. So when anybody becomes a staff member of, say, Hamilton Center or Sycamore, LifeSpring, a couple of the others are integrating this on demand, which is kind of a shorter version of the tier 1. It's like a 4-hour on demand version of the tier 1 in military culture. we want to make sure that any veteran or military connected individual that walks in for any kind of mental health service is treated in a way that or is working with somebody who understands military culture and understands some of their unique needs that might come with their treatment plan. So we're also looking at the percentage of staff in general who are trained in military cultural competence. And then we share information back and forth, because ultimately what we want to find out is the investment in training in the staff making a difference in those outcomes? That's what we want to see, right? We want to know ultimately that those providers are providing a better service for that particular population. And so we do share some identified data back and forth. And then in return, our data specialists help to mine through that data and provide you back with some statistics that you can use when you are looking and to enhance your organization. So whether that's grant funding, whether that's looking at involvement and justification for more programs. So we identify all of the military connected individuals that are a part of the organization receiving treatment at any time. I think through Hamilton Center, we know that at any one time they have 400 and some odd people who are connected. And part of that has to do with their location and proximity to two National Guard bases. It also has to do with they are known for being military friendly. And then we also offer you the opportunity to identify as a STAR behavioral health provider designated facility. And you can utilize that in your marketing. So many people have asked, how does the registry work and how does the referral process work? So let's say you have a provider who works for a community mental health center who is on the registry. They don't take external referrals traditionally like somebody who is in a private practice, as you all know. So what we do is we basically train and coach them on how to take the referral from us, and then they then in turn take that referral and connect them with your admissions process of your organization. So a military connected family member or individual will go onto the registry. They can self-refer. So we have a new phone app. We have as many ways as possible to get this information in front of somebody who might be seeking services. And we want to make this process as easy and as simple and expedient as possible in order to engage them in the process. If you've ever worked with the military population before, there can be a lot of mistrust. And if we don't get them and engage them quickly in services, they can tend to take that as validation of mistrust, and they will disengage from the process. So we want to make sure that the process of getting them connected is quick, is, like I said, as expedient as possible. So it also, so that's the self-refer situation. National Guard, if you're familiar with the National Guard, a service member who is, let's say, a reservist with the National Guard does not always have access to the same behavioral health benefits as somebody who is active duty, say with the Navy or with the Marines. And so if they do not have access, we want to, again, use the registry as a funnel for that. Also, if you're within the National Guard, you only receive a single session with a behavioral health officer. There are no continuing mental health benefits. And so we want to make sure, again, that that behavioral health officer within the National Guard can then take that service member who they have said you could benefit from ongoing services. They have a pathway to connect. So the behavioral health officers can also refer within the registry, and they can find and locate a provider that's close in proximity to their servicemen, their service member, and or telehealth provider. And then they make the referral inside the registry. Then we have on our end, that provider would receive a notification that they have received the referral. They log into their portal They take down that client's information. And like I said, if they're in private practice, they would take it just like they would any other external referral and start that process. If they work for a CMHC, they would then route that service member through the admissions process of that CMHC. And then the hope is the CMHC would then direct that individual, identify them during the assessment process by asking the question if they're military affiliated, and then they would connect them with a provider who has been through at least a tier 2 training in working with military. And then that's the ultimate goal, is that we connect them with that right person who's trained in all the evidence-based practice. So the last thing that I just want to bring to your attention is, again, every CMHC, well, most of them also have an internal champion. So we do designate a staff member from the CMHCs that are actively engaged with the STAR Behavioral Health Provider Program. And that person is internal to the CMHC, and they serve as that advocate for participating in the trainings. They serve for the advocate to HR to try and do their best to make sure that there is time available for that provider to be able to participate in trainings. I mean, everybody's caseloads are so full right now, it's very difficult to take an entire day to go through training. All of our training is approved for CEs. However, that's one incentive, but just having the time during the day to do that can be difficult. So they serve as the advocate internally to help advocate for time and to help them shuffle schedules around so that they can participate. They also serve as the advocate for becoming designated as a STAR Behavioral Health designated facility. And they also serve as just a general advocate for veteran and military connected services in the community. And in turn, we do provide them with extra coaching and support with our partners with the Center for Deployment Psychology. And so you may know, if you work for a CMHC, if your organization has a designated champion, maybe there might be a champion on the call, but that is something that we do. So if you find that your organization does not have a champion, you are certainly welcome to get in touch with me. That's my information right there. And we can get you started in that process. And really that's their only, responsibility is to kind of volunteer to be that champion. And then, like I said, in return, they get coaching and extra support, as well as they do get free registration for our Battle Mind to Home Summit. So one of the things that we do every year too is we do offer a conference, and the conference I believe is in Noblesville this year, and it will be in October, and it's called Battle Mind to Home Summit. And it's a 2-day conference where we bring together leaders and speakers from the military, as well as from the mental health community and other service organizations around the state, and discuss matters specific to the military, serving the military connected population in Indiana. So if that's something you're interested in as well, you can go to the STAR Behavioral Health Providers website or the Military Family Research Institute Purdue website. And there's information on Battle Mind to Home Summit, which again is also a benefit. So at this time, I'd love to take some questions. Who has any questions? Sorry, it's early in the morning and my voice is very gravelly.
Yes, take this time to unmute, but also Blair, if you, there's some interest for this PowerPoint. So if you don't mind sending that to me, I'll include that on our members only area with the recording and the PowerPoint. Great, thank you. A few moments here for anyone to unmute or type anything up in the chat feature.
Designated facility, what is the percent of clinical staff trained that's required for that designation?
So we look at a couple of different factors, and I'd be happy to send you what those thresholds are. But there is depending upon if you're going for a tier 1, 2, 3, or 4, like if those that go for a tier 4 designation, there would be a trained provider all the way through trained level 3. So a tier 3 provider at every single location. So that's a single provider. And then I believe it's like 70% of all staff have been trained through that on-demand course. So there's different percentages depending upon which level you want to go through. But like I said, I'm happy to provide you with any information.
Thank you for the question, Dawn. Anyone else? All right, again, I wanted to thank you, Blair, for joining us, and just a few announcements, updates for the Indiana Council before we hop off here. So all the council updates that you should be receiving in Zoe's email. She is out of the office this week, but she's working on putting that together. So be on the lookout for that probably next week sometime. And by now, Andy has sent out information regarding Andy Zeller's regarding the crosswalk and RFI talking points. We're putting those together as well. So you should be receiving those this week. And thank you to everyone that joined us in Muncie last week. So we had a great conference, Child Adolescent Focus. So thank you everyone that could join us there. And please save the date. I'm working on finalizing the contract, but we're in the final stages. So I think I can safely say that we will be in Columbus, October 4th through the 6th. So just note that there is a date change. We're usually the second week, or I'm sorry, October 4th through the 6th. We are usually the second week of October. So just note that that's going to be the first week, October 4th through the 6th. And if nobody has anything else to add, I did want to announce our Starbucks gift card winner, Dawn with Cummins. So thank you everyone else for joining us. Congratulations, Dawn. You'll get that in your email shortly. And everyone just cheers. Duncan with Denise. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, everybody.